Hi, welcome back to Tailgate Talks. This week I have Josh Plueger joining us and we're talking about cover crops. Josh, what are some of the benefits of cover crops?
Some of the benefits of cover crop is soil health, water infiltration into your soil, saving money as far as tillage, weed control, and possibly also the benefit of having a forage if you have livestock.
I feel like the soil health, first thing you said, that was a big thing we noticed this spring when we had the dry weather and that big storm come through and you saw a huge dust cloud, but you could really spot a field that had a cover crop in it.
Yeah, it definitely made a big difference during those wind events that we had, especially the big one as far as moving the soil off the field. If you already had the tillage done, you had your fertilizer in, you had chemicals down, for your herbicide control, then all of a sudden you weren't so sure if that was exactly where you needed it or if it was even in your field or affecting your neighbor's fields.
Yeah, it always pains you to see that topsoil blowing away, your organic matter, the best part of your soil. So you kind of touched on water filtration piece. How does cover crops help aid in water filtration?
You can do a lot with your water control. If it's a really wet year, like we had 3 or 4 years ago, you can leave that cover crop grow in the spring a little bit longer and maybe suck some of that excess moisture out until you can get to the field, then go terminate it. The other thing is you're keeping that soil in place and that root's acting like a shock absorber. So every time you can go across that field with a pass, then you're not compacting it near as much because that soil can rebound back further. Another thing you can do is if it's going to be a dry year, maybe terminate it a little bit earlier, but still try to leave enough growth so that you're protecting the moisture that's already there. And then the water can also get into that field faster because you have less compaction.
And leaving a little extra growth, would it help with a weed control too on it?
Yeah, it would most definitely help with weed control. The thicker you can get it and the more cover you can have on it, the harder that cover crop will compete and keep other weeds out until you're ready to go plant. The other thing is when that residue dies, it forms a mat and doesn't allow the light penetration to get back to the soil. And wherever you put your seed in the ground is the only place that a plant should be able to come up if it's thick enough.
Have you noticed any big differences in where you had cover crops in a field and where you didn't as far as weed control?
Oh, most definitely. This year was definitely big for weeds, especially as dry as it got. And with all the volunteer corn that's been around the area, the no-till helped not replant that seed. It also helped not replant the weed seed. And it also just basically kept everything from growing because it was under wraps.
How can planting a cover crop help you improve your ROI on your fields?
It can help you improve your ROI by just being there when you need it and not allowing that plant to have so much stress as far as your crop goes. As far as it goes when it comes to herbicide, you can reduce the amount of residual you use up front and use that cover crop as your residual. Later in the season, you might even be able to reduce the amount of chemical you need to kill bigger weeds because they should be smaller. If you're no-tilling, it also saves on that tillage pass so you don't have to pay for the extra high-priced fuel. We had a couple customers that decided to cut back and they were saving anywhere between $25 to about $50 an acre.
Not only that, you're saving on wear and tear on your equipment and a little bit of time too.
Most definitely on time.
So if I was a farmer and I have never done a cover crop, what would be my first step?
First thing would be to make my goal first. Make sure you set that and know what you're doing, whether it's weed control, soil erosion, soil health, just setting that first initial goal and knowing what you want to do for it. The biggest second thing you can do is asking somebody else to help you set it up to work into your system on your farm and how you want it to work, but also being able to adapt your system to incorporate that, not just using it as an add-on.
So I feel like cover crops are kind of the thing of the future, kind of why we've decided to invest the money in this nice little facility behind us. Why would you say FCS has made this investment?
FCS is looking at the future of the industry, looking at the future of our farmers and our communities. And we are definitely committed on making things better and making it more long-term and providing those services for people and making it a better environment for us and to be able to provide an ROI for our farmers.
It seems that sustainable agriculture is kind of becoming a bigger thing, and I think going in the future, it's something that's going to stick around.
Yeah, and with as many things as we're looking at for climate change, emissions controls, different herbicide toxicities, those kind of things, and as more restrictions come down the pipeline, cover crops can definitely start filling that niche now.
Well, if you have any questions about cover crops, reach out to your local FCS agronomist. Josh, thank you for joining us, and thank you guys for joining us. Have a good day. Hi, welcome to
Tailgate talks.
Fail. And this week, we're going to be talking about cover crops. And joining me to do so, the king of cover crops, Josh Plueger.
How you doing? Oh, he screws up.
I forgot to record this one.
Oh, dang it.
We all did.
I didn't. It's not my job.
The king of cover crops.
I'm the king of cover crop.
The king.
Going out there to terminate the cover crop. The residual on it